Hello, I'm Mark Schechter with The Ideal Luxury, where we buy, sell, trade, and make loans on fine watches, diamonds, and jewelry. Welcome to Question Mark, where I answer popular questions about these luxury items. Today I want to warn you about how scary good the fake or replica watch industry has become, and how even some of the dealers can get tripped up or caught on these watches. I'll start by telling you the old saying is, if it sounds too good to be true, it's either fake or stolen. Probably most important is trust your seller. If you're working with a trusted seller, either in person or online, that has an established business with a watchmaker and a reputation, gives you recourse in the event that you're unhappy for any reason, chances are you'll be safe. They didn't build a multi-million-dollar enterprise to trick you with one fake or stolen watch, but you can get tricked easily. Let me show you a closer look of how good they become and maybe some things to look for. Alright, let's take a closer look, but I'll start by telling you I don't know how much of this you'll be able to discern in a video. It's a really good replica, and my point is to impress upon you how good they can look, so go with a trusted source if at all possible. But this is supposed to be a stainless steel Cartier 36mm Ballon Bleu. Some of the best fakes are Cartier and Panerai, and this for me certainly drives that point home. But I'm going to start with, when we opened this box, and it was shipped to us by a dear friend, been in the industry for years, not necessarily his forte, this particular piece, and he bought it. And I had, it made me sad to call and tell him that unfortunately it was a replica, but when I first opened the box, this is pretty pink. It's not the deep red that you typically see with Cartier, so it kind of gave us pause. And look, these watches are expensive when you buy them, but the packaging is really nice. Think of really nice stationery. And this one, for what should relatively be a new box, even though it's got the look and the markings, is falling apart. It's light, doesn't quite have the right feel. This clasp is coming apart and off-centered. When I open it up, the pillow actually is pretty good. But the paper, really thin and tearing. Again, got the markings. This would fool most, but until you've had a few of these in your hand, you might not necessarily catch the difference. And you might be stumped or fooled by, well, look, it's got its papers, right? It's got the CD, it's got the certificate book. But again, this paper is really thin, and it's different from the paper on the cover. The first time I actually noticed the papers, I went to check the engraving on the watch, and when I got around the certificate paper, this paper is off and not quite right, and those stickers aren't quite right. But again, until you've done a bunch of these, and you've invested time and money and effort and experience in the business, you may not notice. So this is like, oh my goodness, boy, did they go to an awful lot of trouble. Look, the first thing a lot of people in the business will notice when they're scrutinizing a watch is its weight and feel. This watch has nice weight and feel, nothing like the real thing. And until you had it in your hands and could compare it to others you've had in your hands that are real, you may not notice. Now they have one little trademark, that little sapphire crown they put at the tip, right? It's actually synthetic sapphire, but this one's like deformed and oblong. I'll put a picture of that up on the screen, what it should look like, so that you can compare the two. But what happens is I start getting a watch or an issue, and I'll just slow down. Like, okay, a couple things so far I wasn't crazy about, so I really start to scrutinize. Look, these watches, Rolex, Patek, Cartier, they use surgical grade steel. Very, very hard steel. Scratch resistant, but can be polished to a high finish. This watch, for again its age, is just beat to heck. It should take a better beating, if you will, from wear. Look, you're going to see it on the clasp on any good watch, but not all over. Again, the steel is just not hard enough. The dial and the markings, again, I'll put some photos up on the screen, just aren't to standard. They're really good, but when you scrutinize them, especially the Swiss made, it's really rough. And I'll put some examples up so that you can see the difference. But these are pretty good. It even says Cartier there across the 7, which would fool most. The engravings, they'll kind of screw that up usually. Usually they're not very pronounced. This one you can see on the clasp, a pretty good job with the markings being pronounced, but the back case not so much. These are usually far more pronounced and deeper. Would I reject the watch just based on that? Not necessarily, but with a few other issues I was concerned about, I definitely slowed down or pulled the e-brake. But where it really comes, where the rubber meets the road, and this is where you've got to have a watchmaker, and if that's the case, you might as well go with a trusted dealer. Again, I'm an online dealer. I've got a watchmaker. So when you take off this back case, there should be a Cartier caliber 690 quartz movement in there, and there's a base plate that says 690 Cartier. And again, I'll put pictures up with jewels that would fool a lot of people, but it's a fake base plate. You remove it, and there's a Swiss Ronda movement. Nothing wrong with Ronda, but Cartier either makes their own movement or sometimes uses a Swiss Etta movement. But if you take off that back case, you'll see that. And that's one great way. You've got to open the watch. Got to open the watch. Look, stainless steel will loosen up or stretch over time, but not on a relatively new watch. All these fittings were really loose. Again, it kind of was strange when I started messing around with the watch. And then my watchmaker always looks at the hands. He says they never get the hands right. Cartier has gorgeous hands, especially those steel blue hands. That center post is actually slightly off center, and I'll put a photo up on the screen so you can compare the two, real versus replica. Again, I don't know if my point in this video was to show you the differences, replica or real, was to impress upon you how much trouble the bad guys will go to make the watch look real, including the accoutrements. And if that's the case, you're better off to buy from a trusted dealer. Again, they have made the investment of millions of dollars in their business to all of a sudden set you up and sell you a fake watch. You might pay a little bit more, but I think you'll ultimately get what it was that you're looking for. Either way, I hope this was helpful in pressing upon you to just simply be careful. That's all for today, folks. If you'd like your question answered or would like to learn more about buying, selling, or borrowing with Ideal Luxury, please visit our website or give us a call. Thanks for watching.